Hey guys, I want to talk to you about the crew method today. One of the things that I searched for or the only thing I searched for was holiday books in my library. And so there are a lot of books in this selection. There were 102 that had very old, there were 102 books in the selection, but there were a lot out of the 102 that had a very old copyright date and they haven't been circulated in several years. And so what I did to get to this was I searched holiday in my catalog, and there's something called a power search where it gives you some more options. And what I wanted to do here is I wanted to I wanted to look for books that were more than 10 years old. So I have a 10/3/musty. And so out of this 100, so 10 meaning the copyright date is more than 10 years old. 3 meaning it hasn't been circulated more than 3 years, and musty meaning that it possesses more than one musty factor. And TSL offered this really cool little chart about a musty method. And so musty is misleading, the information is inaccurate and out of date, ugly, the materials are worn, tattered, or mildewed. Superseded when the title has been replaced by a newer edition, newer format, or newer title. And then trivial, the material is not well written. Irrelevant, the material does not fit the needs or interests of the community. And E, may be obtained elsewhere. The same information is available in another format or title. And so since I wanted to find books that were 10 books that were more than 10 years old. So when I did my search for holiday, there's the parameters you can set. And so there's one parameter that says that you can look at all books before a certain year. So I wanted to go 10 years back. And so anything that's older than 2013 is how I set my search. And out of that search, I got was how I got 102 books. And so then what I did is I applied the musty factor to it. So I not only wanted to know if they were more than 10 years old, but I wanted to look at the circulation. So there's a circulation report you can go to, and you can put in call numbers. And so I did that to see if they had been out of those 102 books, which ones hadn't circulated in the last 3 years. And there were 60 books out of 102. There were 60 that hadn't circulated in the last 3 years. And so I went and I looked at those books, and gonna probably weed those anyway, but I wanted to see which ones, just out of curiosity. I started looking at some of them, which ones I could apply the musty factor to, because a lot of the books that we're looking at here that were more than 10 years old and hadn't been circulated in 3 years, they were definitely ugly, and they were definitely had some wear and tear. Now, the content, most of it was pretty up to date because we're dealing with holiday here. However, if we had been dealing with something science related, a lot of that, that would have been more than 10 years old would have probably been out of date. So what do I find that I will be removing? And that's going to be 60 books. So based on the criteria that I've set. And has the library section been weeded effectively? So I feel like yes, once I have these books weeded, I'll have 10 years old or newer books on my shelf for holiday collection that have been circulated in the past 3 years. And the books left also won't possess a musty factor. So they're going to be up to date. They're going to look nice, and all of that. Some references I used here for that reading chart, for the musty chart, was that TSLA or TSL texas.gov, and then also of course used our textbook. Thank you guys.